Hey, hello people from planet Earth, welcome in my video. I am miEye and today we're gonna do a special video. I don't do this much, so I'm not good at it or something, but we going to disassemble the old hardware to the new case. And my previous case was a Corsair Carbide 540, a cube case. And this is just a mid-tower. I think less room though, but it looks better and it's new. And my previous case is almost falling apart. I will show you some shots of my previous case. It's completely dusty. All dust is like, it's broken. The power button is broken. The front one was broken. The top layer is broken. It's completely dusty. So I gonna clean it, of course. I don't have the right equipment to clean it properly, but I just have some tissues and a screwdriver, and that's all I need, and some terminal paste for the CPU. And I always do it like this, 15 years, and it works. So let's go, guys. I will put the specs on the wall in a slider or something. You can watch the specs for the radiator if you want to have the same case as me. The new case is a Corsair 220T RGB, so 3 fans in front, RGB. I don't really like much RGB, but it was nice aesthetics with the white design of the case. You will see a little later. So let's hurry. I put the stats on the wall, or the specs. Okay, let's go. So people, I'm hand recording with my camera right now, and as you can see, this is my old case with still my hardware inside. And as you can see, the fans are completely dusty. There's no dust filter in front because it's broken. The power button is broken. This is my power button, and this is the reset button. They are broken though. And yeah, I have a DVD drive. I will put it out my new case though. And the fan controller sadly wouldn't fit. But the motherboard has a Q fan controller from Asus. The motherboard is from Asus. A X470 Prime or something with RGB as well. But I disabled the RGB. But that's the front. It's completely destroyed after 8 or 10 years. This is the Corsair Carbide 540 without cleaning it much often, as you can see. So that's a Noctua cooler, a D14. There's only one screw. Dust as well, everything is dusty. Oh. This is my CPU cooler. I like this CPU cooler instead of a water cooler. Fans on it from Noctua. My GPU, it's a Asus RX 5700 and one drive. Couple of fans, they are all dirty, and 16 GB of DDR4 memory. And yeah, basically it, guys. The motherboard is an Asus 470X Prime AMD socket 4. So let's go to the back. Because my old case is a cube case, the power supply is on the back. I also have 2 SSD and a drive on it without mounted. There was no room for it anymore because the other bracket of the hard drive also broke. The cable management, yeah, you may think it's not so good, I know, but I replaced a lot of hardware and I was bored to do that stuff. But that's basically the back, and let's disassemble this hardware. We're gonna get out the DVD and the fan controller later on. I not use them in my new build, but I'm gonna disassemble the fans. Even the screws are broken in the case. This is a Gentle Typhoon fan from Sky, I believe. Sky Gentle Typhoon. So these fans are completely dusty. I can maybe throw them away, but I'm gonna clean them, and possibly I will reuse them as an outtake fan on the back. But I have more fans in my collection, so I will use them in the new case as an outtake or top fan or something, but they aren't RGB. So we are arrived at the CPU power connector, 8 pins, the motherboard power connector, 24 pins though, and it can only fit in one direction in your motherboard. 2 times 8 pins, or 1 8 pin and 1 6 pin for your graphics card. It's hard to get out sometimes. untie the screws of the GPU that keep it holding in place. 4 pins connector of the fan for automatically fan control. On your motherboard you can use Q fan and another fan. CPU cooler Noctua D14. A latch you can click on to unlock the GPU from your motherboard. And then it's getting loose. This is my GPU, a AMD RX 5700. My dirty wool case with a lot of dirt. Next build it will not be dirty. SATA data cables, unplugging them. I have 4 drives, so I'm unplugging 4 SATA data cables. The power LED control, the reset button, your speakers, everything from your motherboard. Hard drive need to get demounted. So we also pull out the cables from it. Power connector and the data cable, and Toshiba. On the right you see the SATA connector and on the left you the power connector, the print plate. I quickly pull out all the cables. I'm superhuman, as you can see, I do it very fast. Audio, microphone, line in, and other connectors, SDIF, USBs, internet, 3.1 USB, and HDMI. So I quickly tell a little bit about a motherboard. On the top left you have your 8-pin CPU power connector. This is the CPU cooler, or you have a water cooler instead. These are heat sinks for your CPU. Beneath you have MOSFETs, if I pronounce it right. Fan controllers, inputs for your fans, multiple because motherboards need have a lot of it. 4 slots of DDR-RAM connectors where you can put them in. I keep them in, but I will clean them, of course. The 24 pins power connector. What else can we see? Yeah, the SATA connectors for your data. And the power cable just goes into the drive though. This is important. These are the connectors for your power button and your reset button on your computer. Your LEDs and so on. Some USB front connectors and stuff. And these are PCIe connectors for your video cards or anything you want to put in. Your normally it's called BIOS, but it's nowadays UFI. Another heatsink. Let me see where it's connected. A heatsink for an M2 for an SSD. Interesting, it's so big. This was the X470 from Asus. The Prime, and it's called Pro. Now there's nothing pro about this motherboard actually. It's basically pretty basic motherboard with RGB, and that's where I paid a lot of money for. I thought it had way better features. So always be cautious when you buy a motherboard. What do I need with my motherboard? Do I need more GPU slots or only 1 or 2? Do I need more SATA ports for your drives? If you have like 12, I can only put in 6. It's for me enough, 2 SSD and 4 hybrid SSD drives, but that's enough for me. But if you want to have a better full tower case, you want to have more SATA ports probably, or other stuff to connect. So this is a little bit an inside my motherboard. Now I push out the I/O shield of the case from my motherboard. It's just pushed in and now I can pull it out. Let's see what else is inside the case anymore. It's completely empty with a lot of dust. I will throw this case away. It has its time done actually. So pull connectors to the other side and let's go to the other side, guys. I must say actually never buy this case. It's one of the worst. I don't know why I stick with Corsair, but I like cube cases though. It's my dream to have a better cube case than this one, but I couldn't find one. So we have a SSD bay. I remember how to loosen it up from the case. I forgot. I think it's pushed down or something. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna throw. Maybe I keep the bay actually. I throw this case away, but Probably it's broken now. But anyway, we can just pull out the SSDs. These are 2.5-inch SSDs, older ones, not M2s, but they work fine, they are very cheap. This 1 terabyte is crucial, and the connectors, one is a data cable and the other one is the power cable. The power cable is the bigger one and the data cable is the smaller one. With a lot of cables actually. I will pull them out alone and maybe show you a little bit of the cables, what is what. I got a very cool years with this cube case, but now it's completely broken, guys. And it's not only my fault though, maybe a little. The dust of course is my fault, I cleaned multiple times, but not enough actually. The back of the PSU, the power supply, there are some screws, we just quickly loosen it up. 1, 2, 3, I've got only 4 into it. I believe there can be 5 maybe, but 4 was enough for me. And there's a power switch on my power supply to pull it off. And here's the cable into it. And my power supply is an AX860E. E means it's digital read-in. It's from Corsair. It's a little bit older one, but it's working fine. I think it's 800 watt or something. 860 watt probably. Yeah, there's another SSD I have. Power connector and a data cable. I will show you the cables a little bit. That's universal. All cables are the same actually. Maybe in your country it's different, but in my country they are the same. And Samsung Evo SSD. Power cable and the SATA cable input. So, some cable explanation. This is the motherboard cable with dust on it. Woo! But it's 24 pins. There's only one certain direction it can go in the motherboard, and there's only one that has 24 pins on the motherboard, as big as this connector. So that's very easy. It's a modular power supply actually. You can put them off if you don't want it, but the motherboard cable is always not modular. You cannot put it off. But there's only one cable of this one. Then what else do we have on our power supply? Let not fall the power supply on the floor. We have a Molex cable for, let's see, you can connect, for example, a DVD player or what other cables? These are the 8-pin CPU cables, 2 times 4 pins. It's 8-pin CPU, video card power for the video cards. We have a, I don't know if you can see it though. Let's see if we can zoom in. We have a connector for the LEDs, the LEDs, the power on, the power off. You connect them from your case to this little cartridge. Basically, you get this cartridge from your motherboard, and yeah, your reset button, speaker, but speakers is a little bit out of date. No one has a speaker in his PC to launch his PC on. The case of my other case, the Corsair Carbide 540R or something, and it's a cube case. It's finally empty except the fan controller and the DVD player. I will put them off after the video. It's not necessary to how to mount it or demount it, but yeah, this case can just go away to the trash can basically. Now I can go vacuum clean. I always do it with vacuum cleaner. Of course, be cautious, you not hit your hardware. But for example, you can hit this heatsink. You will not damage it that much. But if you hit maybe the main board, you will damage it. Let's put it on. Woo! Now I'm gonna clean my fans. I hold them mostly like this and then use the vacuum cleaner. Now I get a cleaning towel or something, I don't know how you say it. We call it in the Netherlands vaatdoekje. AMD RX 5700. I hold the fan again and clean it with the vacuum cleaner. So we are finally arrived at building the new case, the Corsair 220T RGB. We're gonna build it right now on the desk though. I measured everything beforehand, so as like the CPU cooler, the GPU, if it can fit in the case. But I forgot one thing, guys. And that's, I didn't measure the power supply. It's a mistake. Normally you measure all this kind of things if it can fit your new case, right? But I forgot about it. Yikes. So let's go to the desk. So we are finally arrived at the case unboxing. It's the Corsair 220T RGB. So there are 3 fans in front that are RGB and no outtake fan actually. A manual, I don't think we need it, but if I cannot make it properly working, I can use the manual. So let's see guys. It looks good in first impression of mine. This is the front, it has mesh. Let's see if we can open it. First time I'm using this case, I never looked inside the box yet. Here you can see a dust filter and 3 RGB fans. Okay, that's cool. Another filter on the top. So they're coming minimal. Oh, it's magnetic actually, that's good. This one side, the glass side. The glass panel. And then the case is open. It's real glass. I will put it safe somewhere, otherwise it will break. 2 more thumb screws, thumb screws to open the back plate. Okay, we got this plate. It's just plain white. Here we can see a fan controller, probably. I never have tested it yet, but this is a fan controller. 3 fans are plugged in. They are the front fans though. So this case has place for 2 normal 2.5 inch SSDs and 3.5 inch hard drives, normal hard drives, and of course M2 SSDs on your motherboard if you have a supported motherboard for it. But this for me enough, because the next drive I want to buy is an M2 SSD. Then my main SSDs can come secondary drives. So probably we need to open this. This is the first time for me as well. So we get 2 SSDs now. I don't know what's smarter, to put them downwards or upwards. I think downwards is smarter, because here's a hole in the bottom. There's a hole to do your cables actually. I put 4 screws into the bracket and on the SSD. Now I tighten them. And then we can easily mount it on SD brackets on the back of the panel, the back panel. There's only one package with 12 screws and the other ones are 20 screws. Let me see. Yeah, the other ones are 18 and 20. So it's very easy to find which one is which one, because you just can count them in the sack, right? You just count them in the sack. There's only one sack with 12 and there are only 8 screws you can use for SSDs, and other screws are for the normal 3.5 hard disks. So tighten them up, not too hard. Not I'm a specialist or someone, but trying to learn a little. But everybody can tighten screws, so it's not important. You just choose the sack of 12, put them in, and tighten this one. And now it's secured. So I mounted the 4 screws into the plate, into the SSD, and now we just put it in the side, straightforward, just only one direction. Like building a PC, mostly everything is only one direction. For example, on 24-pin power supply, there's only one 24-pin, so there's only one direction it can fit. It's so easy. PC building is easy. You only need to do it maybe once proper, and then there's a tie rip underneath. That's hindering my movement. Building your PC is so easy. It only is time consuming. Now I tighten it up with screwdriver. I am now mounting the screws in the traditional hard drives, 3.5 inches. I bought them for storage, more storage, because if my channel ever dies I can have all backup from videos or from anything from my channel with miEye. Some big storage. These are 1 terabyte and the second drive is a Toshiba and that's 2 terabyte. Yeah, I just mount them, is straightforward. There's only one set of 18 screws and it says in the manual this is for the traditional hard drives. It's so easy, there's only one set, just pick the set, count them. Oh, there's 18. Easy. Then they are for the normal hard drives. Now I mount them and put them in the cages here. Just get your hard drive that's ready and mounted on the bracket and just easy slide it in till you hear click and then it's done. And then you can put the cables on the back. We will do later. First we will do the tie ribs. We will loosen up from everywhere. And then we will see what we need to do next. So we are arrived at the power supply. Shall we do it upwards so the heat goes upwards, or put it downwards? There are dust filters underneath. It's better to go upwards. The reason why is of course it minimal sending heat upwards anyway, because they are so cool and efficient. But if you do it downwards you can get a loop, and that loop goes basically outside here on this side and then back into the fan again, and it's basically in loop. And especially on carpet it's not so good. I have it on wood, so it's not a problem for me, but I still do it upwards. I don't mind a little bit heat, and so we're gonna do it upwards. This is my power supply, an AX860E from Corsair as well. I'm not sponsored by Corsair. I already have this one a long time ago. I hope it will fit though. I made all the cables loose of the power supply. They are modular, so you can put them off, and now it will fit. I will mount the back with screws, and then we can do the wires back on the power supply again. The I/O shield backplate can only be fit in one side, because you just look to the back of your motherboard and you see what direction that is the right one, and I know it already, so just put it in and click. Click, 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 please. The backplate of the I/O shield is in, and now we place the motherboard on it. I immediately have the cooler on it as well. Then we tighten the motherboard screws, there are only 18. So now we're gonna mount the GPU. It's in 2 slots in, I don't know how you say this, in depth or something. But so we need to open 2 slots on the back panel. It's so easy, just open it. If my screwdriver wants to fit, yes. And there are also 3 slot cards. I don't think 4 slots, maybe with custom cooler or something. Let's see if we can fit the GPU into the case. On the motherboard, on the PCIe connector, all at the same time. It seems difficult, but I need to look good. And now it's fitted. And now I press. And now I need to mount it with screws again. I needed to put out the hard drive case, otherwise the cables wouldn't fit in my power supply. They are modular, but it is so small room, so I need to put out the hard drive case. It was easy with 5 screws though, so it's not a big deal. Connecting the 24 pin from the motherboard. There's only one direction, let me see. I think it's this direction if I look proper. I think this is the right direction. Easy. One time, click, and the power is on the motherboard right now. two 8-pin PCIe power cables, one on the left and one on the right. Normally I do two separated cables to be sure that it has enough power, but this time I do just one cable. It gets too much cables in my case actually, and it was unnecessary though. On the top left corner here, 8-pin CPU power cable on AMD systems and on Intel systems. They're both in the top left corner. I never have encountered something different than this. I already did it a little bit in the right direction, the cable, because you guys, there's only one way you can plug it in, and yeah, that's basically. And now it's plugged in. Now we connect the front panel, the power on, the reset button, and hard disk LED or something, anything. It just says on the side power P LED. Now then you go to the side and P LED is here. So you put it on the P LED, the minus LED on the minus LED, then that's done. Then we have power SW. Whoa. And that's basically it, and then we mount it on the PC motherboard. In the bottom right, probably you can't see it, but I don't know what's wrong with my settings, but there is where you place your power connector, adapter, and your reset button and hard disk LEDs and so on the bottom right mostly. These rubbers on the bottom, they are everywhere in the case. They are so bad, they just fall constantly out of it. Maybe I will not even place them in. They are so annoying, so keep that in mind. This is the third time I already placed this rubber back into this frame, but just they keep falling out. But actually all the cables are basically in, except the hard disk audio. We will play, or hard disk HD audio. It's the front panel audio, and for your speakers and stuff. I want this one, it's very important for me, so I'm gonna place them somewhere here. I need to to see where actually. Let's see if you can see it on the motherboard, HD audio. So placing the latest fans in the case, I placed the back fan in, was just mounted with the screws from outside to inside. This the direction it blows to that direction. So if I need to do this one like this, and it goes from front to back actually. It's a smaller fan though, but I can better first mount it in the fan controller. Normally I'm not so fan of building PCs actually. The reason why is, of course, if you have new hardware it's fun. You have like something to look forward to. But my previous case was really falling apart and I needed to replace my case, and yeah, with old hardware, clean all the hardware, and then that's not the most funniest task in life, right? So you're cleaning all your hardware, place your old hardware, or it's not really old, but your older hardware back in your new case. It's not the most funniest experience in my opinion though, because only with new hardware it's fun. And I like building PCs, but it's only with new hardware though. It's been a long day. Yes, it is. The end conclusion, guys. This is the lights in the dark, and the other side is the. So people, finally the end conclusion. Is this case Corsair 220T something for you? And that's a good question in my opinion, because in my opinion the price is good. It's around 80 euro on Amazon. 80 euro, it looks great, the aesthetics are great. I like the white design. You also have it in black though, so if you want you can choose yourself if you prefer white or black, but my theme of my channel is mostly white, so I wanted a white case, right? White PC case. But overall, it was really hard to build this case with hardware into it. Of course, I had all the hardware, so I needed to clean them before to put them in the case. Everything what I wanted to do, what in a normal way, it was really hard. For example, when I want to fit the power supply with the modular cables on it for easy access to put it in, it didn't fit. I needed to put out all the modular cables. That was annoying, wasted my time a little bit. When I put the power supply in, as the guide said me how to do it, there are two directions, one upwards the fan or bottom the fan of the power supply. I choose upwards because my power supply doesn't create much heat though. But okay, I wanted to put the cables in, but I had so less space to put the modular cables in, and my hands are big and all the kind of things. It didn't work out, so I needed to put out the hard drive bracket from the 3.5 hard disk drives. It was with 5 screws though, it wasn't that difficult, but it's another wasting of my time though. So putting modular cables into your power supply is really hard in my opinion. So you need to pull out the hard disk drive case. Okay, that's one thing. The RGB fans are amazing looking, but there's no fan controller, so the fans are creating a lot of noise. They are noisy. And there's no space for a fan controller on the front, for example, so I need to put the fan controller later on, just randomly in the middle of the case without mounting, and then I have controlled fans or fan speed. Of course, you have on your motherboard, for example on Asus, you have Q fan. You can customize it. I tried every setting on Q fan on my motherboard, and now I have silent and the lowest ones and so on, but it's still creating more noise than my previous case though. Of course, this is a mid-size case. Mid-size case is less space than a cube case, of course. My cube case, my previous case, the Corsair Carbide 550R, I believe, was a cube case and was has a lot of width. So my power supply and my drives were on an apart component, and the others, the hardware like the motherboard, GPU, CPU cooler, and so on, were separated. That was nice to have. But this one is a nice budget case, €80. It looks great in white or black. It depends on what you prefer. I prefer white, as I told you at the beginning. The glass is real glass, so don't drop it on the floor. It will be broken. The glass is mounted with 4 screws, as I showed you at the beginning. They are with some rubber between it, so it not vibrates or something. That's great. But to open that window, you need to do 4 screws. It's a little bit unnecessary in my opinion. But yeah, it needs to be secured because it's glass, right? But it could be a little bit better in my opinion. What else? What else? There is rubber on every corner where you put cables through. For example, your power supply cable, it is thick cable. You go through some rubber on every cable management holes. And the cable management holes rubber fell just out. And then you have a rubber around your motherboard cable. Of course you can put it in back, but then another cable needs to go through and it falls out again. After like 6 times that happened, I feel like I'm so done with it. I'm not gonna put this rubber again ever back in my case. So I suggest you, when you have this PC case, put out the rubbers at the beginning. It saves you a lot of time. It not even looks great, the black rubbers. I think it's way easier to build your PC without the rubbers. Especially the most annoying part is the cable management behind the PC. For example, I have a motherboard power supply cable and 24 pin cable, and that's around thick like this, and all other cables on the back, there's only space for 1.5 centimeters. So there's no space for cable management, and I couldn't get the back plate of the PC case back into the PC case. So that was really annoying. Of course, I did put 35 minutes or 45 minutes to put the back plate back in the PC case. With a lot of force. I needed to pressure a lot of force, and that was really bad. Really awful. And why they don't give us a little bit more breathing room and give us 1 or 2 centimeters more, then it was just too easy. It was then too easy. So if you are not a PC enthusiast, if you are that, this PC case is a no-go in my opinion. I'm a little bit a heavy PC user and I like to upgrade my hardware quite often, but this is very minimal design. You can only put 4 drives into it. I knew that when I bought it, so it's not a problem for me though, but you can only put 4 drives into it, 2 SSDs and 2 3.5-inch hard disks. So keep that in mind, but you can also use M2 SSD on your motherboard, so there's more room for hard drives. What else can we tell? The RGB fans on the front make noise though, a very minimal noise, but it's quite annoying though. But the RGB looks amazing, top notch. I like it. Even in the Corsair software you can change a lot of settings for your colors, for your fans. So white as well, colors, there are like a lot of presets and that's really amazing, Corsair. And the case looks beautiful, the glass, don't drop it, that's amazing. Yeah, putting the cables through the case was really annoying. The cable management, whew, it's wasted a lot of time of me. Overall, would I rebuy it, the case, if I had the money? If you're good at PC building and you have minimal budget, this can be something for you. If you're not good at PC building, you have minimal budget and it's one of your first time, then it will be a horror movie for you. That is way too difficult. I wouldn't suggest you this case. So dust filters are amazing. They are like magnetic, you just drop them on. I would suggest to drop the top layer dust filter off when PC building, because otherwise you want to move the case and it slips out of your hand because the rubber is very slippery in your hands. So be careful not dropping your case anywhere because it's slippery. Just put off the magnetic cap on the top, it's way easier. And what else can I say? Fitting the power supply wasn't great, it was awful. Awful experience. For the rest, it's just a good case though. It looks great, not much space, it's very limited space. So this is my end conclusion. I hope you liked it. I'm not sponsored by Corsair though, but I will review next video a Corsair Sabre. Corsair Sabre RGB Champion Series 8K polling rate I will review in the next video. But first I need to edit this video and it's gonna be a tough one, that's for sure. So yeah guys, if you have any tips for this video though, or I mean suggestions about this case, ask them in the comment section below and I will answer them if you have any questions around the topic of this case. If you have any tips for this channel, put them also in the comment section below the video. That would be amazing. Thanks for watching guys. I hope you liked this video. Maybe consider a like, comment, join the Discord, subscribe, everything. It is free guys. And see you guys in the next one. The Corsair Sabre 8K polling rate. Woo! See you guys. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Now I gonna chill. Thanks for watching guys. And see you guys next time. Bye bye guys. Bye bye. Have a good one.